What is up, YouTube? What's going on, fellow fantasy people? And as always, what is up, the Catch fam? All right, so I just want to roll into a little bit of a recap for that 12-team draft that I did last night. Like I said, this is really my primary league that I play in, as well as my co-host Steven's primary league. So let's start by kind of going back over this team that I put together, a heavy running back squad, a true wide receiver zero squad. I mean, man, we are loaded at the running back position, but did that hurt us in the long run will be the question. So at the moment, we have got Lamar Jackson leading this squad at the quarterback position. So I feel pretty good about that overall. He's got some very favorable matchups through week 7, some tougher matchups week 9 through 17, but nonetheless, out of this matchup against Indianapolis as well as week 4 in Denver, I think he's got a very favorable, couple of weeks here. I mean, week 6 at the Chargers, week 2 at Kansas City. I mean, definitely some pretty good defenses there, but I think both of those games could turn into pretty high scoring games. So I think he's going to really give us a good advantage these first couple of weeks. And in the meantime, we can always look to the waiver wire to give us some strength at the quarterback position. There are some quarterbacks available in this league that I like a lot. So let's break down these running backs quite quickly here. We know how much manpower we have at the RB position. We've got CMC. Remember, we had the first overall selection in this draft. We've got David Montgomery and James Robinson. So out of those three guys, just to start things off, I mean, I'm a little worried about starting David Montgomery this week, being that, they are facing the LA Rams, who I also have defensively, right? But outside of that, I feel really good about Christian McCaffrey's matchup against the Jets, as well as James Robinson's matchup against Houston. So I might end up actually taking David Montgomery out of my lineup, being that we have so many other running backs on our bench. So Telvin Coleman, I felt like, was a very good value where we selected him. That was the final player we drafted last night. Well, actually, I believe we drafted Rashad Bateman after Coleman, but the final player who was not on IR, who we drafted last night, I think we got a very good value, being that we didn't have to reach for him whatsoever. But nonetheless, we've got Gus Edwards and we've got Javonte Williams. So Javonte Williams, someone I think who can definitely break out and be the lead running back in that backfield. So I'm very happy with that selection. But for the time being, we want to just leave him on our bench and kind of monitor things. But if he breaks out here as early as week 1, I mean, he sees Jacksonville and the New York Jets in week 2 and week 3. So, I mean, obviously 2 very bad matchups, week 4 and week 5 with Baltimore and Pittsburgh. But nonetheless, man, he's going to have some really good opportunities early on. But we'll just sit back and monitor that situation. Now, Gus Edwards only projected 9.26 points, but the Ravens are facing those Las Vegas Raiders, man, and they're going to put up some points week 1, man. And I'm thinking about putting Gus Edwards in my starting lineup over David Montgomery. But nonetheless, man, we went super running back heavy in this draft. So let's take a look at these receivers, man. Antonio Brown versus the Cowboys tonight. Then he sees the Atlanta Falcons in week 2. So he's got some very favorable matchups here early on. He has been dealing with some knee issues, but he should be good to go. I see that more as a veteran taking some rest with a long-term injury, right? But outside of AB, we've got Chenault Jr., we've got Corey Davis, Henry Ruggs, and Terrace Marshall Jr., as well as Rashad Bateman on our bench, or on our IR right now, right? We're still waiting for a kicker waiver to go through, as we drafted Rashad Bateman, moved him immediately to our IR spot, and then put in a waiver for a kicker. So pretty strategic there. I like how we went out and did that, right? But nonetheless, man, we're really looking for diamonds in the rough at the receiver position, and just adding a ton of value at the running back position was really the overall strategy for this draft. But we also added very good value at the quarterback, tight end, and defensive position. So overall, man, I certainly think that this roster could work out in the long run. I think it's built for long-term success, and At the end of the day, we're going to start three running backs week in and week out, and then we're going to play these receivers against their best matchups, right? So, Corey Davis on my bench as he is facing a pretty good rookie, matchup here against the Carolina Panthers, right? So I think that I mean, he's someone I'm starting in my 20-man league, right? I mean, I can't not start him in that league, but I think that Chenault Jr. is going to have a better matchup against Jacksonville and Antonio Brown versus those Dallas Cowboys. I expect the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to put up a lot of points tonight, but nonetheless, man, we will keep monitoring guys like Terrace Marshall Jr., who has a chance, against the New York Jets to have a pretty good rookie debut, right? And Henry Ruggs is, definitely not my favorite pick, but hey, it's still a wide receiver number one, but an awful matchup against Baltimore, right? We don't want anything to do with him this week, but nonetheless, from a PPR standpoint, or I mean, this is a half PPR league, but in terms of receptions and targets, I do believe that Henry Ruggs is the guy in the Raiders. So I don't dislike that pick whatsoever, man. But let's jump over to Steven's team really quick. He's starting Tom Brady versus the Dallas Cowboys tonight, which is a great matchup. Austin Eckler, his most interesting selection, fifth overall. That hamstring issue that subjected him to only playing 6 games last year looks like it might be creeping back. I mean, I certainly don't wish that. I mean, obviously, it would favor me in terms of this matchup, right? But man, I never wish injury on anyone. So I hope that it's just a slight tweak and he just needs to cool off. But nonetheless, it's very concerning, especially against that Washington football team defense. So outside of that, Steven does have Antonio Gibson of the Washington football team. Facing maybe a revamped LA Chargers defense, but nonetheless, man, I look for Antonio Gibson to have a really good game overall. Allen Robinson, a great selection as Stevens wide receiver one, especially pairing him with Chris Godwin as we see. But Allen Robinson, a very unfavorable matchup versus Jalen Ramsey in week one. And then Chris Godwin, I mean, a little banged up with kind of a weird leg injury. I believe it's a quad injury, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. I still expect him to play, throughout this whole game versus Dallas, and he has as good of a shot as anyone to have 10 plus receptions and a score at least. So I think Chris Godwin's going to really be a good, starter for Steven this week. Mark Andrews, a great tight end. Luckily, we have Lamar Jackson. So anytime that, theoretically Mark Andrews scores a touchdown, Lamar Jackson will also be getting us points. So those will just kind of negate each other. But a great selection at tight end for Steven. And remember, we were trying to get Brandon Ayuk as our wide receiver one when Steven went out and drafted him in that round. I mean, it's like 6 spots before we drafted, so I don't think he would have fell to us anyways, but a fantastic week one for that Brandon Ayuk. I'm really happy I ended up on Steven's team as he really, really liked this guy going into the season, kind of like how I felt about Jerry Jeudy, right? But yeah, against Detroit, I mean, I expect Brandon Ayuk to have a very good game. And then a fantastic kicker selection by Steven with Rodrigo Blankenship. And then I think Steven and I both expect the New England Patriots to have a much better defense than they did last year, with a lot of players coming back from holding out due to COVID, right? But nonetheless, I do expect, even though I think Miami is going to have a good game overall, I do expect the New England Patriots defense to be a steady defense for Steven throughout the year. Looking at his bench, he went relatively wide receiver heavy with Michael Gallup and DJ Chark sitting down here. But nonetheless, 2 fantastic flex players right here. I think those are 2 awesome selections overall. And then 2 handcuff situations. And while I don't think Steven feels fully confident in these 2 guys, I mean, I will say that you've got a handcuff situation going on with the Buffalo Bills and then one going on with the Green Bay Packers, who are 2 of the teams that we expect to perform very well offensively throughout the entire season. I mean, not the best matchup, of course, for Zach Moss facing the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then, the New Orleans Saints have a decent front seven, but an okay matchup for A.J. Dillon. But nonetheless, I think these handcuff situations can benefit Steven down the road. And then taking a gamble on Jamar Chase, I think was a really good move by Steven, being that his receivers are very heavy, very good overall, and this is the 6th receiver on this squad. So, I mean, we're obviously a little worried about the way that Jamar Chase has performed in the preseason, but I think it makes a lot of sense, and like Steven explained, it gives him a lot of upside at the receiver position. And potentially a true wide receiver one. So I think that was a really good and very smart and strategic pick by Steven. And then he went out and got his guy in Trey Lance at the quarterback position, is going to let him sit behind Tom Brady for now. And I think that's a really good depth move overall. And it gives Steven a player that he has a lot of conviction in. So I think we both drafted extremely different. I think Steven went receiver heavy, or not necessarily. I mean, I guess he went receiver heavy, but he still built just a very consistent team overall with and he's got all of his positions filled, and he's got good depth, I guess, outside of the tight end position, although we both only have one tight end. But uh, I think a little bit more of a safe team overall for Steven. I think it's definitely built for success, where I still think my team is built for success, but we went pretty heavy on the gambles, man. I mean, we went out, we were the first team to take a defense, right? We took a shot at tight end pretty early. We had conviction in Mike Gesicki and got him. We were rolling with Lamar Jackson early on, but obviously the biggest gambles is that we went out and targeted the running back position. We took 5 running backs early on before we even took one receiver. I mean, we had chances to get guys like Amari Cooper was sitting there when we went out and we got our tight end, and we got that of Javonte Williams. So, I mean, we definitely took some gambles, but it'll be interesting to see. I mean, if these receivers can consistently get me 10 plus points a week, or if some of them can break out and be guys who are getting us 15 plus points a week, right? Maybe Corey Davis or Chenault Jr. truly turns into Trevor Lawrence's, favorite target throughout the year. Well, then I think that this team is really built for success down the stretch, because the one position that is the most thin overall through your draft and through your regular season is the running back position. But also, it is a position that deals with a lot of injuries. Just looking at Christian McCaffrey and David Montgomery, I mean, think about the amount of injuries that those guys have dealt with just over the past year. So we've got Gus Edwards hanging down here. We've got Telvin Coleman, who at the moment is listed as the RB1 on the New York Jets. And we've got Javonte Williams with a huge potential to break out and be a true RB1 with a very, very easy strength of schedule. So I think that this team is built for the long haul. I think that a lot of these selections will benefit us down the stretch trying to get into the playoffs. And I think throughout the season, we will see a lot of receivers available on the waiver wire. So I feel good about my team. I did not think I would be taking that many gambles. I thought I would actually solidify some receivers a lot earlier on, and I did not see myself going out and being the first team to go out and draft a defense. But nonetheless, man, just really quickly, I just want to shout out this league, man. These guys and gals, as we have Steven's mom in this league as well. I mean, they weren't playing around this year, man. I have got some stiff competition. Steven has got some stiff competition. I'm just going to throw some of these rosters and scroll through them really quickly so you guys can get an idea, man. I don't even want to just shout out one or two teams, man. I just want to shout out this whole league. I think that we are going to have some really tough opponents this year, which is good. It's good for this channel. It's good for the league. It's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of competition. I mean, look at, our guy Bryce's team. I mean, not the best all around, but Aaron Rodgers, DeAndre Hopkins as well, but Devontae Adams and Robert Tonyan. Just think about those 3 guys on the Green Bay Packers. Anytime that they're putting up, extreme crazy offensive games, he's going to benefit to the max. I mean, I think that Steven's mom went out and drafted a really good team. I mean, both these last teams that we looked at through Colin and William were absolutely stacked. I think that my guys Ben and Tyler went out and drafted really well-rounded teams. I mean, this is going to be a lot of fun this year. I'm really, really proud of our league, our squad, right? I think these guys went out and we were just not playing around this year. I mean, overall, just a lot of good rosters. So I'm definitely expecting for it to be a competitive year. I mean, my guy Dusty, I think he drafted an excellent overall team. I mean, I'm really scared to go up against some of these guys, and we are going to have some close matchups, and it is going to be a ton of fun. So let me know in the comments down below if you guys think my RB heavy strategy is going to hurt me in the long haul, or if you guys think that it is going to present some very good value down the stretch. And let me know what you guys think of these receivers and what you guys think I should, or, what specific receivers you guys think might be available on the waiver wire who will kind of give my team some potential benefit, moving forward as well. I can go ahead and just pull up some of the top guys and let me know if there's anybody who you guys think I should be considering. Like I said, I will always take your guys' thoughts into consideration as I want you guys to be part of this 12-team journey. But overall, definitely let me know in the comments down below who you guys think I should be adding, what you guys think of this RB heavy method that I rolled with. Let me know what you guys think of Steven's team overall as well. And as always, man, if you guys found this video helpful or enjoyable, go ahead and smash that like button. Man, we are hitting that goal as of today of 100 subscribers. I can feel it, man. So go ahead and subscribe if you are new here and become a part of the Catch fam. Steven and I have got some things planned for tonight's NFL kickoff, so stay tuned for some videos coming out tonight. And as always, I thank you again for watching and or listening, and remember, you saw it here on the Catch.